Hey everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my channel and my studio. Today I'm going to share a beautiful and easily foiled design and a coordinating stencil that makes the prettiest card. To see this card project come together, stick around. That video is coming up next. So here's a look at the products I'm going to be creating with today, and this stamp set is called Wishful Florals from Gina K Designs. I do have the coordinating dies and the layering stencils that you use to add blended color. I also have this Poly-Glaze sheet, and I'm going to use a little bit of fancy foil today in sterling, and I'm going to foil a few of these to create my card. So let me get my fuse out so we can start with the foiling. While my fuse is warming up, I'm going to cut some of my florals apart, and that way I can foil these separately. I'm going to take this out. Now this just takes the place of stamping the image, right? This is the exact same image that you see here, and I'm going to do, oh boy, I have an idea. Famous last words. I'm going to cut out 2 flowers for what I want to do today. So I'm going to come around here, and then I think I will take 2 more from the bottom. I have a rather ambitious idea in mind, and we'll do that and maybe a little more greenery because I'm not 100% sure what this is going to look like, but I'm very excited to have the shine. All right, let's set these aside. On the second sheet is where you get the greetings. So 2 sheets, I just cut apart what I wanted for my greetings, and I forgot to show that to you, so now I will put this away. So I've got here my carrier sheet that came with my fuse, but I also purchased this a while ago. It's from Tailored Expressions. It's just a little shim that I like to use in my carrier sheets. I like that it gives some nice firmness. And now I'm going to take a piece of this foil out, like that. And I have my little clean Swiffer cloth, and I'm going to pop in with the gray looking side up, right? Because that is just showing you, that's where the image is, that's where the Poly-Glaze is. And now I'm going to take my little piece of foil and just cut a piece to cover. Actually, I want to make sure I have enough there. I have plenty of this in my stash. All right. We're going to open this up as well, but I am going to also brush on the back side just to make sure it is all particle free. Oh, there's a little sticky there. Pop that in. And I'm going to cut this as well because I don't need to have all of that there. And I'm going to do this for all of them, so I'll show you one and how beautifully it comes out. Oh, I guess I didn't do that right, did I? Sometimes it's, there we go. As long as you can cover it all, you're good to go. And save all the small pieces because they will often be great for the greetings. All right, let's pop this in and run it through. Right, that is coming out the back, and I'm just going to let that cool for a second before I unpeel. Right, I just let it cool for a minute or 2. We'll open this up, bring this out. Oh, and I can already see where it lifted and give me, look at that. Oh my gosh, that. And I can keep this and use it for something else, but look at the shine on that piece. Oh, it's beautiful. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same process for all of my remaining pieces, and then we're going to start ink blending. So I'll do that off camera, and when I come back, we'll be set up to add the color. So I'm going to be using a grip mat today just to hold both my paper and my stencil. And this is the 5.5 by 8.5, and it works great for ink blending. And the colors I'm using today are these: Sea Glass, Blue Lagoon, Light Spruce, and Medium Spruce. So these are going to be some very cool tones for my flowers. Let's flip it this way. Got my little ink stand here, and let's take the first stencil. And here you can see the parts. Oh, it's very sticky. We are going to get you lined up. Oh gosh, I can do this. I want to make sure my etching's the right way. Yes, it is. Okay. I need to go. Takes me a minute, but once I find it. 5 minutes later. The etching side actually has to go down. Now that might be with just the Poly-Glaze, but usually you go right side up, but as soon as I flipped it, you can see where it locks into the places where we're going to ink blend. Okay, well, we're going to do that then. So just get it framed out, and then I'm going to press this down. Now, I can use a little Post-it tape for some masking, even though I am going to be die cutting these. Sometimes I just like to protect the edges when I'm blending. So here, that's just interesting. It could be because of the mirror image of how this was made. So we are going to load up with the Sea Glass. Okay, get that on my brush. I'm going to tap quite a bit of it off and just kind of blend it into my bristles here on my glass surface. And we're just going to bring it in. Now the nice thing about the foiling, it works just like an emboss resist. It will resist the ink that we are putting on. So the shine will still come through beautifully. And this is our first layer. It's going to be very soft. I'm just giving enough to cover, but not getting too heavy. Maybe a little darker in the center, like that. Okay. And that is layer 1. So let's lift this off and I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, so we're getting this sort of split tone. Now, when I clean my stencils, I use a little bit of alcohol. I keep it here in the spray bottle because it will allow you to clean your stencil and then it dries right away. I use these little cloths. I don't know if the green ones are still available, but they're e-cloths and they're like a flat weave. There's no fibers at all. So that's number 1. We're going to set that aside. Now we're going to take the second stencil, which is going to give, and I'm going to flip it again because I believe, yeah, that's what we got to do here. We're getting this two-tone, and all I have to do, again, is line it up. When you're using a sticky mat, sometimes you have to lift in place a couple of times because it wants to stick right away like this. Now, replace my pieces here, and we're going to bring in our darker blue, which is Blue Lagoon. And I'm just going to use the same brush for this. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. Just kind of work that out a bit so it's not coming in super hot. And we're bringing this. I'll start in the center and blend out. So we're getting this two-tone look. Oh, I think that's going to be really pretty. Coming up here. A little darker there. And then a little darker in the center, like that. Okay. And then we're going to lift that up. You can see how pretty that bloom is. All right, I'm going to get this cleaned off and we'll move on to the greenery. I think that looks nice like that. So, sticking that down again. And again, just bringing in those Post-its to protect the edge. And we're going to put Light Spruce on for this. Load that up. Going to tap it out a bit. And blend. And I am kind of having a little, I'm not going really hard and heavy here. I'm just building up the color to get that greenery in. think I stuck it in the wrong place. There we go. A little deeper at the base of these leaves to the best of my ability. Okay, that is the first layer of color for greenery. Oh, it's so pretty. And let me get this cleaned up and we'll do the final layer of color. And let's load up the brush. Of course, this is a much deeper tone, and we'll just bring that on too. Again, not going super hard through the stencil, but just enough so we get that second tone and build up that color. And then once I have this done, it will be ready for die cutting. All right, let's see how that looks. And lift this up. And look at that. Now I'm also going to take my little cloth here, just go right over like that. In case there's any pooling underneath, and when I lift this up, you can see how beautiful that is. Wait, let's get that shine in there. The shine and the foil really holds beautifully. And what I will do now is I'm going to do all of the other pieces that I have in the exact same color scheme, and then we'll cut everything out. Just wanted to show you one thing really quick before I start with the repeating colors. I'm going to take my brush that had the blue lagoon, and I just use my paper towel roll to get most of that dark color off. It's pretty easy to do. You just keep going until you can't really see the depth of the color, and then it's ready to go. This is just easier than trying to do them all at once. I mean, if you have a big sticky mat, you can certainly do that, but I'll just do that, and I'll do that for the greens as well. All right, I'll be right back when everything's blended. Now it's time to cut everything out. One thing I did notice on the stencil, when it came time to do these guys, and I don't know if I'm using all of them, I actually did have to flip it to the other side. So that just might be a little quirk in the stencil set, but it works great. And so now I am going to frame this out. It takes just a second, but I think this is a pretty easy one to see all the sides and just get it right lined up like that. I'm going to tape this on one side and another so it does not slip. Heck, I'll do one more here. And I'm going to be cutting everything out with my Intracut today. So I have my machine set to die cut, and I have it at about -3. We'll go ahead and bring this, open it up, and it will suction right to my surface. I have my cutting pad here, and I'm going to pop this down. I know there is a new magnetic system that is either out or coming, and I'm going to be ordering that ASAP. So go ahead and run this through, cut out our first image, and then I'll use my dies to cut out all the rest, because there's also dies to cut out all of the greetings as well, which is amazing. And now when I pop this out, you will see, oh, I mean, look at that. That is just gorgeous. Okay, setting that aside, and I'll cut everything else out, and then we will assemble our card. So I've got all my pieces cut out, and I cut an extra piece of white cardstock and glued it to the back of both pieces of the greeting. I'm not completely sure what's going to happen here yet, but let's make our note card. So I have a piece of white cardstock. I don't think I'm going to have a panel on this one. I think we're going right onto the base. And I'm going to make this a top folding, so this will be right here, scoring at 5.5, and my cardstock is 11 inches by 4.25. So give that a nice score there, and press that down, and I'll give this a final press with my Teflon bone folder. I just like that nice little curved part, and also it doesn't leave any sheen on my cardstock. All right, I'm going to tape this closed so that it doesn't pop open. while I'm planning and adhering things. All right, so that's the panel. And now here's what I was thinking. Now here, okay, I should point out the blooms in and of themselves would be glorious, you know, just with one. I mean, one flower would make a beautiful card. What I wanted to see was what it would look like to have one card at the bottom, maybe, and one flower at the top. And then what I would do is cut some of it off, right? I don't know yet. I don't know. That's why we do this. And then wishing you and happiness would go right in like that. I think this is beautiful. Now I have extras here that I thought I could pop up and add a little more, but you know what? I may not need them. But one of my rules of design that I follow, always make more than you need, and you're probably going to be fine, right? Because then you can, you got more, you can use them on another card. I even have one more of these that I haven't used yet. So let's see, maybe too, I can come in even closer with these so that I don't lose as much of the blooms. Like what if I have that right there? This comes in a little bit more, right? So we have a little, well, but I do like this angle. So yeah, I think that's what I would do. And then I'm going to pop this up actually. So let's get some liquid glue because I think this will be great for this. I'm going to get my block here. And all I'm going to do is put a little liquid glue all over the back. Not super heavy, but heavy enough to hold it. Because even if some of this feels like it wants to pop up a little, or, you know, I don't want it to seem super flat to the card. But I think this will work great. Let me get my tweezers now. Flip this over. Well, I guess I don't really need my tweezers. And I do want to have some bleeding off. So we are going to say like that. Okay. And then I'm going to put my brick on, and that will help it to adhere. And I'll repeat now at the bottom. This is actually a really simple design. You could put this on a much larger card as well. You could do a 5x7. I just never really do 5x7s. It's just a personal thing. I like A2 size, the 5.5 by 4.25 finished size. All right. Okay, so getting our glue here. And if a little is where it doesn't need to be, that's fine too. And let's pick you up. I'm going to place this right about there. So again, a little bit's going to come off, and we'll pop our brick on there and let that adhere. The mystery of the stencil has just been solved. You probably saw this earlier, but I just wanted to say there's no glitch. These two stamps are mirror images, and so that would make sense that one would go one way and one would go the other way. Same thing with these. These are also mirror images. I'm not really sure if I did a mirror image on the first one, but that explains it. So, you know, sometimes it takes me a while when I get going. No glitch. We have reflected images. Okay, now it's time to build the card. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these, but I'm going to do it with my paper trimmer. So let me grab my trimmer. I like to do this with a trimmer rather than scissors because I feel like I usually get better cuts. But what I want to do first is get, oh, excuse my head here, is just get this lined up on the blade like that. And now I can go right up to the top and cut those little extra pieces. I want to be real careful up here because it is a fold. I might have to get a little closer on that, and like that. And now you can see we bleed right to the edge. I'm going to get a little closer over there. There we go. And maybe a tiny bit closer. Well, you know what? That is where I can do it with scissors because there we go. And now they go right to the edges. Turns out I finished the card and I wasn't actually filming, so To wrap up, the only part that you missed was the bead placement. I'm using the silver beads from This Calls for Confetti. A lot of times I do 5, but I thought 6 would be good, so I went boop, 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 boop. There, the boops are in. But that's the finished card project, and I really feel like this is one of the prettiest cards I have. Look at that I have made in a very long time. The shine on this and the simplicity of this sort of reflected design. You can do this with any floral that you have, but I absolutely love the 2 tones here. I love the cool blue flowers and the cool foil for the greeting. So that, my friends, is the finished card project for today. You can find links to all of the products I used in today's video in the YouTube description box. I'll also have a blog post with photos and more details. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I'd love to have you, so hit that subscribe button and be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the next time I post. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day. To see more projects featuring beautiful florals from Gina K Designs, check out the 2 thumbnails I have linked below, and I'll see you in those videos.